Sunday sermon for Bitcoin Will Come. This is your host, George CLC Samuels, or, well, as a sermon, I wonder if I'll be saying this is your preacher, George CLC Samuels. Now, this last week has been really interesting for the entire Bitcoin coin space, and that's including all forks, as well as the general crypto market in general. So, as per usual, I'm just going to go over the coin market cap for BTC Bitcoin and then BCH Bitcoin Cash, and then go into some of the more notable news that I came across this week, both, of course, within the all Bitcoin space, as well as things that we've done and general news, and of course, with some of the other altcoins and ICOs. So, just gonna flip the screen, take you through. All right, but first up, go to our coin market cap. So our coin market cap right here, as you can see, things have gone down again. All right, folks, during the week saw a little bull movement up. I think there was 1 or 2 days where everything was green and people were like, yay, we're recovering. But, I actually was still feeling that, the crypto winter still was not over. And this is kind of proving that that is still the case. All right. So, yes, I'm calling this the crypto winter because in the Northern Hemisphere, it's still the winter period. And from what I've noticed, a lot of the crypto markets are really tied to, still tied to our public holidays, our seasons, and it's really interesting to see. So not only do we have our crypto winter, but we also have Chinese New Year coming up on the 16th. And now for me personally, if you've been watching the Sunday sermons, I talk a lot about Cliff High. And Cliff High is a guy that is known for his predictive linguistics work. And he mentioned that we should see an upswing in the market again around March. And he calls this the blooming period of the spring energies. And when I say energy, I'm just talking about what you usually or typically would expect in a spring season, and that is being reflected in the crypto market. So don't take my word for it. Let's just watch and see. But kind of like the two key dates or time periods that I'm looking at is post Chinese New Year, so that's after February 16th, and then March leading onwards into the rest of the year. We may see a slower recovery, but towards the end of the year, and then when we hit the end of the year again, maybe August, September, we'll start to see those spikes come back up again. I think a lot of people are still expecting those, those huge pumps like we saw back in December and the later half of the year. But every year, Bitcoin and probably with the crypto market have they're now remembering that the crypto market itself is only really about a year old in terms of all the coins that are out now. So a lot of these coins and cryptocurrencies and crypto assets are still relatively young compared to our OGs like BTC, Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. All right. So, you can even see Ripple now. A lot of people might think, oh, Ripple, came out of nowhere, but the project has actually been in motion for a good couple of years now. I think around 4, maybe even more. So it's definitely interesting to see why they're at the top of the ladder, but things are changing. So that's why everybody's watching, and this crypto winter has definitely proven to a lot of people that just because you invested in a few coins and got really lucky, it doesn't automatically make you an expert or guru on cryptocurrencies in general. So I personally have really enjoyed this bear market because it's humbled everybody. And I think that's an important thing for the market because there was a bit of hype and mania that was seeing some really dumb money come into this space. And now a lot of that dumb money is coming out as well, to put it simply. So let's go into BTC Bitcoin real quick. And I might actually, well, I'm not sure if I can do that yet. That's fine. BTC Bitcoin. All right, so with BTC Bitcoin, current price is at 7,000. People didn't think that it would go down below 8,000, but it did. So let's take a look at the last week. All right, I'm just going to put the log scale, a little bit more accurate. Yeah, we saw right here, geez, you can see even here, went down to about 6,000. All right, I don't even remember that, but looks like that did happen. Went down to around 6,000 and, kind of recovered here. But if we go back to about a month, you can see, it's been steadily declining. But, to be fair, so has almost every other coin. So that's not really saying much. And looking back 3 months, when we had all the hype, as you can see here, price was around 6,000. So you can see that there was all this hype here, and everything's kind of settled back down to those pre-December levels. So it's not really that bad if you kind of take out the hype and mania. So you kind of really want to just look from around November, 5,000, 6,000. It has increased, all right? Maybe not as much as what we experienced here when it was at 19,000. Props to any of you who kind of sold at around this level or took some profits. Yeah, it's also kind of a reminder too that hey, it's okay to take out some profits when you're experiencing this. You don't have to hodl everything, but yeah, that this is where we're at now. As of today, we're at around just below 8,000 for BTC Bitcoin. Now, with Bitcoin Cash, we're at around 1,200. All right, down 7% as well. During the week, it actually had a really interesting thing happen, and I'll go through it. So this is our 7 days. Let's go to log scale. Okay, a little bit more accurate. All right, so here, yep, this was 2 days ago. Okay, so it was at around 10:31, and then it jumped to 12:37. All right, so this was significant, and this happened around the same time that this happened. All right, so what essentially happened here is a group called CoinText, and I think they're also associated with Coin Markets. I think that's their Twitter handle, Coin Markets. They've essentially created a service that allows you to send Bitcoin Cash via SMS to anybody in the world. Now, I saw the original tweet go out with this as an example from somebody in Australia. And it was from @Mad in Melbourne in Australia to another user in South Korea, and then to that user's mother via SMS. All right. Now this is a pretty big deal. All right, because essentially it's showing that you actually can scale on chain. This is all happening on chain. All right. This is not requiring a Lightning network or complicated apps or whatnot. This is just simply via SMS. And the reason why I highlight this is because this is personally why I got involved with Bitcoin, because of that vision of being able to provide Bitcoin to anybody in the world that's fast, cheap, and reliable in this type of manner. Like, this is the revolutionary stuff. To be honest, Lightning Network is not, in my opinion. I know people have their opinions on it, but this, where you are able to provide peer-to-peer electronic cash without banks, but you're essentially helping to bank the unbanked, all right? Bringing in those, 1.4 plus billion people around the world who have SMS, right? All the people outside the West, this is what appeals. Of course, us in the West, we can make our money as well, but like, it's being able to enable commerce and trade for those who previously were not able to via bank accounts and whatnot. All right, this right here. Okay, so it was interesting to see the price jump when news of this started going out. Whether this was the thing that caused that or not, we don't know. But we did see a lot of hash rate jump over to Bitcoin Cash. We saw this start getting retweeted around a lot. And, this is just the beginning. So I'm really looking forward to seeing more development in the non-Western parts of the world, getting Bitcoin Cash out to everybody. All right. And, that happened literally around this period. And another really interesting thing happened too was that I think we started to see Bitcoin Cash actually uncouple itself from altcoin and Bitcoin movements in general. So if we go to, all right, so right now Bitcoin Cash is 7.49%, and we have Ethereum 10.79, Bitcoin 9.95%. All right. But there were times during the week where Bitcoin Cash was up and everything else was down, and then vice versa. Everything was up and then Bitcoin Cash was down. So some really interesting movements from that point of view. All right. Other interesting news as well is that I also released my interview with Roger Ver, founder of Bitcoin.com and one of the world's first investors into Bitcoin, who's a very strong advocate of the Satoshi vision for Bitcoin. So now he is supporting Bitcoin Cash because he believes that it is more in line with the original Satoshi roadmap. And yeah, we're at around 4.5K views. Of course, you got a lot of people commenting both positive and negative. So, some people enjoyed it. Other people just use the typical Bcash is trash. But, it is what it is. And for the most part, it was good to see some healthy debate between folks around this. This is what you get in the Bitcoin community in general, all forks. Yep, here you go, right there. But, I think it is important. The aim of this interview was to help people get some deeper insight into Roger himself and to learn a little bit more about him behind, Bitcoin Jesus. And, but of course, you've got to be open to hearing somebody out if you really want to get to know him, because it's so easy, I find, these days online for all of us to just throw accusations, throw comments, throw remarks and opinions at people we've never even met before. We like to say we're rational and, use facts and whatnot. But for the large majority, and especially in my work as a community manager, I see that is just not the case. People have their underlying biases, have their underlying belief systems that really shape the way that they engage with others. And hi, Ed. Hold on, let me just seeing your comment. Don't consider anyone cheering for Core and Blockstream, Segway, and Lightning as Bitcoin. Hey, no worries, Ed. Yeah, the comment came up and then it disappeared a bit too quickly. So yeah, I hear you, man. But in terms of brainwashing, I try to even stay away from those words because the people that we may be making those remarks about are also saying the same thing about the other side. So if everybody's calling each other the same thing, where are we actually getting? So I actually try to stay away from using the most commonly used words like shills, scammers, sock puppets. To be honest, I hear it so much, it just annoys the shit out of me now. And I think we can do better than that. And I think there is an opportunity and a space for us to be able to be constructive. But that does start with us. Now, but I appreciate you speaking out, brother. I'll continue on, but thanks for watching, tuning in, man. All right, so yeah, that was the interview with Roger Ver. So if you do want to watch the interview and are open to hearing what he has to say, I did try to get out more than just the usual pitch, which he's very good at. And I asked him about the pitch as well, where he learned how to stay consistent with his message. A lot of people who've seen his work may think that it is a bit redundant, but from a marketing perspective, this is pure gold. And the really good visionaries and the really good influencers typically do this. And they will repeat the same message over and over again because it's that repetition that gets the message across. All right, so yeah, definitely worth having a listen to if you have not already. So just look up on our channel that title. Now, another really interesting piece of news was this. J. Christopher, man, I can't even say his name. Is it Giancarlo? I can't actually say it properly. But I thought this video and the U.S. Senate hearing around cryptos and what to do with it next was generally positive. You know, everybody has their views on this and their opinions on whether this was good or not. Some people are vehemently against any sort of government interference or regulation. But, you know, to be fair, this is all part of the process. Throughout history, change comes with chaos at the beginning and anarchy, but then order comes in later on. And these are simply seasonal cycles. And if you understand these seasonal cycles, it makes it easier to adjust through those phases. Personally, I think a lot of people, depending on their personality, are actually better suited to different parts, each one of those seasons, right? If you think about spring, summer, autumn, winter, a spring season is typically that, you know, new sprouts, blooming, a little bit chaotic because everything's coming out of that thawing period of stuff being the same. And the spring season can be a bit chaotic. The summer phase is usually when things start to, the fire comes in, right? And not always bad fire, but the good type of fire where it's starting to try to magnify or focus in that chaotic energy. So this particular video,
currently being traded, are they a commodity or are they a security or are they both? What's so challenging about Bitcoin is it has of multiple different things. One of the phrases that's often used is that Bitcoin is a medium of exchange, a store of value, or a means of account. Well, those three things have different connotations to them. If it's a medium of exchange, then it's like a currency-like instrument.
So I think the highlight of this entire talk was actually the describing of HODL, or as some say HODL. Reminds me of Game of Thrones, Hodor. But describing HODL to Congress, to the Senate, was, I think, like a pretty interesting and pivotal moment. And them talking about, you know, they're talking with their nieces and their grandchildren about cryptos. To me, this is a positive sign because this is where we're starting to see the adoption and things going mainstream. All right. Now, they're only talking about Bitcoin in general. And, you know, we obviously know some of the politics and the things that are happening underneath BTC Bitcoin. But the utility part of Bitcoin, I think, is really going to bear itself over time. I think a lot of people are saying that, you know, BTC Bitcoin will not remain number one by the end of this year. You know, some people are making that prediction, while others are, you know, hodling, you know, and they still believe that it will keep that that position without really doing much, right? And noting that right now the BTC community generally are treating BTC Bitcoin more of as digital gold, right? So they're not interested in the cash side of the Satoshi Bitcoin vision. So these are important things to take note of. And yeah, whatever, you know, whichever one you support, you support. We're all free to choose the things that we are interested in backing. All right, so this is the news here that I thought of the week that was pretty significant. And there was also a lot of chatter recently around EOS and ELA. But with EOS, you can see here, they broke the biggest token sale record. All right. Crypto net worth 600 to 700 million. All right, so this is a blockchain platform challenging Ethereum. A lot of people are really invested in it long term. They do believe also that it is a great Ethereum competitor. Claims that it will scale transaction speed, eliminate user fees, and empower open source communities. Now, this is interesting because I think a lot of cryptos are actually looking to eliminate the user fees completely. You know, one of the things that appealed about Bitcoin for me was sort of the gamification, well, not gamification, but more the economic incentives that were embedded into the entire ecosystem, right, with the miners, etc. To me, from that standpoint, I think Satoshi did a brilliant job of really looking at everything holistically, because it's not just the it's not just looking at one side, not just the dev side, or just like eliminating fees. And because people then realize that, like, obviously in order to have a true economy going, there needs to be some sort of economic incentive. So anyways, this all sounds very promising. There is definitely a large community support around EOS, and I know a lot of people in the BWC community do also have holdings in EOS, and some, it's actually a large majority of their portfolio. So this is definitely one to watch and take note of. Now, another one this is from the ICO side. WePower released their tokens recently. All right, so I know folks from our BWC community as well have also invested in WePower. Now, as to why the website is taking so long to load, I don't know. But yeah, WePower is a blockchain-based green energy trading platform. For me personally, what I think they've got going well for them is that they've really taken their time with their pre-sales. They've done a great job from a marketing perspective. It's not just all hype and no substance. They have some great partners. They've really paid attention to their communications, has really done well. And, it's about green energy. And I think green energy will be especially important for the mining industry for cryptocurrencies. And I believe that Samsung, too, recently also announced that they're going to be creating their own, or focusing more on their own chips, so rivaling NVIDIA and AMD and whatnot. And this, I think, will be good. So the more competitors you have, the better it usually is for the end users from a pricing standpoint, and also from a quality standpoint, right? Competition does keep businesses honest, right? This is why, like, a lot of people are all for the decentralization, but the decentralization comes from people competing in a ideally free market. All right, so WePower is definitely one that I have been taking note of. Also, I helped some friends get in on this as well, because I was able to make it onto the whitelist. And yeah, this is just one to take note of. Let's see how they do, but I would consider or put this in more as a longer term investment. I think they've got something going on very well for them. But remember, this is not official financial advice. All right. So that's the wrap up in terms of main news for the week. Just my own personal thoughts on what's been happening in this space. I am still very keen to get to Chinese New Year this Friday. I'm looking forward to, sort of, as mentioned, that crypto winter thawing a bit and opening up to that spring energy. March, I still have an eye on. Remember, have a look at Cliff High's work. His website is halfpasthuman.com if you are wanting to get some insights from his webbot. So that is the predictive linguistics and the analytics that he derives from there, or the data that he derives from there for his predictions. They've been remarkably accurate for the most part. It's not 100% accurate. He's no Nostradamus or anything, but he's definitely another one of them holistic thinkers that I enjoy reading from. Those are the types of people I'm usually drawn to, the ones who I feel look at everything holistically, not just individual parts. So yeah, with that concludes our Sunday sermon. Wishing you all the best with your own crypto wealth. I hope that you're sharing and spreading the love. If you are a utility holder and or a utility user, use your cryptos wisely, and but also use it, right? I know a lot of us are huddling as well, but if we want the economy to be stimulated, we do also have to use a lot of the crypto holdings. All right, so what I do now is also, just like with my own finances, you have a percentage that you will save and you have a percentage that you will use. And I've been, over the months, I've been increasing my use of Bitcoin Cash, and it's been for me personally. I've also been using my Ethereum to invest in other ICOs, and even more will be coming out. So yes, wish you all the best with your crypto wealth. Hope you haven't had too much of a scare with the crypto winter and everything just going down. There's been a lot of great memes that have come out around it. And I will see you next Sunday. Wish you all the best. And remember, it will come.